Happy May the 4th, everybody. Today we're going to be reading BB8 On the Run to keep celebrating Star Wars. As you can see, I have my Yoda shirt on. I filmed this a day early for my students for tomorrow for their read aloud, so we're going to get started. At the end, I'll discuss a couple of ideas for some thinking about the book. If you're in my class, go ahead and go on to Classroom and answer some questions to get your brain working. So here we go. This is called BB8 On the Run. So, BB8 wasn't used to being on his own, and it was very scary. Very scary. His friend Poe had told him to run. "Get as far away from here as you can," the pilot had said. "I'll come back for you." But BB8 had seen the explosion back in Tuano village, and he feared Poe was gone. Now it was all up to him to get the top secret map to the Resistance so that they could find Luke Skywalker. All up to him. That was scary too. As he took shelter for the night, BB8 noticed and remembered something else Poe had once said to him. "It's easy, buddy. You do good things and good things will come back to you." But how could such a small droid do such a big job? The next morning, as BB8 resumed his journey, he was glad to come across someone else. It was Tito, but he was in trouble. His lugabeast was sinking into the sand. "Please help," said Tito in a language that sounded like screeches and warbles. BB8 was in a hurry to complete his mission, but he felt sorry for Tito, and for the lugabeast too. Maybe BB8 could do something for them. Oh no, it's a trap. "I'm going to take you apart and sell you, piece by piece," said Tito. "You're even more valuable than the other one." What other one? A panel closed above BB8, shutting out the sunlight. He realized the only thing scarier than being alone in the dark was not being alone in the dark. And then they're right over here. "Please don't hurt me," it cried, trembling. It wasn't a monster at all, just a big, gentle loading droid. BB8 chirped happily at the massive thing. "You promise?" it asked, worried. BB8 nodded wholeheartedly and beeped and warbled some more. "Your name is BB8, said the loading droid. "Mine is F3ZK, but you can call me Fez." The giant was no longer scared, and BB8 was no longer alone. Fez told BB8 he was part of a droid ship that was scouting Jakku. His ship was scheduled to leave that afternoon, but Fez was going to miss it because he was stuck in his cell. Scheduled to leave that afternoon, BB8 was torn. Should he stay on Jakku in case Poe came back, or should he try to get off the planet in Fez's ship? The map had to be delivered, and soon. But first they had to get out of this trap, and BB8 looked at a loose panel on the floor. He realized he had the perfect plan. There's the pictures for that one. "Excuse me, Mr. Funny Lizard Man, we need your help," said Fez. Tito ran to see what was wrong. BB8 was missing, and there was an opening in the floor. "We were trying to escape and he fell in the hole," said Fez. Tito climbed into the cell and looked down into the black space. "I don't see him." "Look closer." Tito bent over the hole. "Closer," said Fez. Tito leaned way over the opening and peered in. Beep! With Tito trapped, the two droids were able to escape. "Let's get out of here so I can go home," said Fez. "You can come with me if you want." And the little program code says, "High five." BB8 let out a series of chirps. "A mission?" asked Fez. "That sounds important. We'd better get you to the ship. It's picking us up at the ruins." There you go. BB8 and Fez raced across the desert as fast as they could. "The good news is, the funny little man is okay," said Fez as he noticed Tito in the distance. The bad news is he's following us. You could see Tito up in the top by the big ship. Suddenly, a flock of angry steelpeckers flew up between BB-8 and Fez. BB-8 fled one way and Fez went the other. The birds didn't know which droid to follow. "Hey, over here," cried Fez, trying to get the steelpeckers' attention. "Run, BB-8, you have to complete your mission," Fez yelled. "I'll save you." BB-8 didn't want to leave his friend, but he had to deliver the map, and Fez was already leading the steelpeckers away. Alone once again, BB-8 continued on his journey. He hoped Fez would be all right. BB-8 hurried. Next, BB-8 found a herbivore with an injured leg. BB-8 recalled the medical frigate he'd passed that morning. It would have first aid supplies, but going back for that would probably mean missing the droid ship. Here's the sick animal. BB-8 thought for some time, trying to decide what to do. The herbivore moaned, and BB-8 made up his mind. Tito was never going to catch him on that slow-moving lugabeast. BB-8 almost felt sorry for the weird little guy. Almost, but not really. And then you could see Tito over here in the distance. BB-8 worried that he was going to miss the droid ship because he had stopped to help so many people. Just then, as he reached the ruins, he saw something off in the distance. The droid ship, at last, only it was preparing to launch. BB-8 raced for the ramp as it started to close. Then he saw another wonderful sight. Fez. Fez was okay. He had escaped the steelpeckers and he too was running for the droid ship. He waved happily to BB-8, who chirped with joy. They were going to make it off Jakku together after all. But then something terrible happened. Tito appeared, blocking their way. Fez started to panic, but BB-8 quickly formed a plan. He remembered what Tito had said, that BB-8 was more valuable than Fez. He also remembered how Fez had saved him from the steelpeckers. BB-8 started to speed away from the ship, and Tito followed BB-8 instead of Fez. "Where are you going?" yelled Fez. BB-8 chirped an order. Okay, I'll get on that ship," said Fez. "Thank you, BB-8. I'll never forget you for helping me." The massive loading droid made it up the ramp just in time. BB-8 felt he had done the right thing in helping Fez, and the hungry family, and the injured herbivore. But if he had done such good things, then why was this bad thing happening to him? He was so confused. Maybe Poe was wrong. Maybe you don't get what you give. Oh, and you can see BB-8 is trapped under in a little net. There are no words on this, but Rey appears. Or then again, maybe you do. And then, if you remember, in The Force Awakens, it starts with Rey finding BB-8 in the desert and rescuing him from Tito. Okay, so if you're in my class, you can go onto Google Classroom and work on the BB-8 survey. If you're just listening to this for fun, you can try to think about ways that you relate to BB-8. Maybe you help other people without them asking for it. Maybe you're just a naturally helpful person, or maybe sometimes you wonder why challenges happen to you if you do so many good things. You can relate to BB-8, or if you want, you could think about a theme that goes along with the story. You could also make a sequence thinking map where you could categorize the story by 3 events. You could talk about what happened in the beginning, what happened in the middle, and then what happened in the end. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.